Hi there, I'm Amy Speropoulos, the Development and Communications Manager for the Salvation Army. Thanks to the Women's Auxiliary of Greater Memphis, we are able to bring you Stories Behind the Shield each Tuesday here on Bott Radio. It's a special time where we look inside the buildings, behind the programs, and into the services directly helping men, women, and children in our communities. But we wouldn't be able to do what we do without volunteers and employees who believe in our mission. 3 of those folks are joining us today. Welcome volunteer and Miss Michigan volunteer Lydia Fisher, and employees Aaron Keegan and Dennis Barlow. Aaron Keegan, the COO, Chief Operating Officer, and Dennis Barlow, the financial guy. I think that's all we need to say, financial guy. The main guy with finances who keeps it running. Thank you guys so much for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So, ladies first. So, Miss Michigan volunteer. I love this, Lydia. You talk a little bit about why you wanted to get involved with the Salvation Army of Memphis.
Yes, absolutely. So, as Miss Michigan volunteer, I am a state ambassador for Miss Volunteer America, as well as the Salvation Army, which is one of our philanthropic partners. So, what the values and the brands and the principles of the Salvation Army tie in so well with Miss Volunteer America. We have 5 points of the crown that stand for service, education, responsibility, volunteerism, and empowerment. And volunteerism, volunteering with the Salvation Army, being involved in your community, it was just a match made in heaven when this partnership came about a year ago.
Okay, so ding dong me, and I was actually in Miss Volunteer, and I think it was Miss, anyway, too long, it doesn't matter. But I didn't know the 5 points on the crown stood for that.
Yes, absolutely. So it's an acronym, and it's been it's been so valuable to helping establish what matters to you, and it's something that is so important to have and involve in your life, more than just having a crown on your head. And just my personal favorite is responsibility, and it is a responsibility to be a leader in your community. And the Salvation Army, I'd say we go way back on the Salvation Army. Amy, you introduced me to Salvation Army Memphis just mere months before they formally announced the partnership. So God had his hand in that.
I mean, that is so cool. That's so true.
That is true. It was about October of 2023, right before Hannah Perrigan, who was Miss Volunteer America at the time, just announced the Red Kettle Ringing campaign and the new partnership. And then our new queen, back in June, Berkeley Bryant was crowned, and they've just announced that Miss Volunteer America will be a national ambassador for Salvation Army in St. Jude. I just thought, I was way ahead of the curve on that. This is amazing.
Way ahead of the curve.
So God just had us connected on that.
Well, and that's how God works. I love that, and God really is in all of the details, and not the details, and I love that God played a role in both of you, Aaron and Dennis, coming to the Salvation Army, and has really continued to solidify y'all's time. So, Aaron, let's start with you. What brought you? You are our veteran, so to speak, because I keep saying 10, but it's probably been 11 years now, right?
It's somewhere in between 10 and 11.
Okay, good. So talk a little bit about what brought you originally to the Salvation Army.
Sure. I had a wonderful position in another organization that I had been with for 10 years, and kind of felt like I had plateaued there, and was doing a lot of praying, like, God, do you want me to stay here? Is there an open door? Do you want me to find something different, or what have you? I was very blessed to actually have 2 job interviews, basically doing the same thing, special events, and I got awarded or called within 5 minutes of each other and said, we would like to offer you this position from 2 different organizations.
Oh, wow.
And I said, it was on Friday afternoon. I said, may I have the weekend to pray about this with my wife? And the first one said, sure, absolutely. We'll hear back from you on Monday. And the second was the Salvation Army. And the HR director at the time, I said, may I have the weekend to pray with my wife? And she said, absolutely. In fact, let me pray with you right now.
Oh, God. Okay, that would have sealed it for me.
Oh, it's sealed. It's sealed it from there. So 10, 11 years ago, that's how I came to the Salvation Army of Memphis.
God was using her in that moment.
Amen.
Holy cow. Yeah, I would have been like, of course you can pray for me. Can we pray for my finances and everything else? See, that would have done it. Dennis, what about you?
I came up 2.5 years ago as a part-time revenue analyst to work in the Croc. So I had the opportunity to see everything that happens at the Croc as far as ministry opportunities, get to invest in younger people that work there. And then this past summer in July, I was promoted to finance manager. So it's opened up a world to let me see everything that goes on within the city, and also work with volunteers and see people that are in shelters and just interact with them. It's been a real blessing.
I love that because, a lot of folks really don't, it does amaze me actually that a lot of folks really don't know the roots that Salvation Army has in the community. And I was just sharing this with somebody else the other day that the Salvation Army has been in Memphis for 125 years. And that for a nonprofit, that is unbelievable. I mean, it really is. And to know that women and children are housed at the Purdue Center of Hope. And Lydia, you have you've had an opportunity to really go inside and learn what we do. And how amazing is that?
It truly is amazing. It makes you feel grateful for where God has placed you, and just knowing that there are people out there that do care and want to provide, because we truly all we have is each other. And just when you just see that kindness that is given at the Purdue Center, I remember there was this past summer before my last time competing at Miss Tennessee Volunteer, you had me come speak to the children at their summer camp, and just the little children, how they've been through so much, but when they see this they think that I'm this fairy tale princess, but I'm just this regular girl who just cares and wants to be involved with people. And I thank you honestly for all those opportunities that come with it. But you can do so much more. I have this amazing crown and sash, but through these opportunities that I've been given, I realize I don't need a crown and sash just to do that.
That's right.
The God has given me a gift to connect with people through multi-generations, and my personal platform is called Lydia's Light, and that's the word I would describe it as.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Lydia. What Lydia's Light? Tell me a little bit about that.
So the backstory on that, I was a child growing up with a learning disability. I didn't feel necessarily understood. When I was diagnosed with ADHD and auditory processing disorder, my parents, they didn't know what to think. My mother actually cried because and nowadays we have so many resources available that it's not so much of a stressful process for parents now. But in that time when I was about 8 years old, I'm 26 now, my mother just didn't know how to process it. She didn't want her child to struggle. But just by taking that course of action and helping me be provided the opportunities that help me mold into being the best student, the best Lydia I possibly can be, and realizing my gifts early on, I just found my passions through all these things. I was trying so hard in schools, but academics wasn't necessarily my thing. And yes, this is a scholarship organization, but that can be a bit ironic. But my passion and why I choose to get involved in pageantry now, it's the volunteer aspect. It's being that magical princess for people, but knowing that they can achieve opportunities if they just lean into who they are.
I love that. And at the heart too of what we do, Aaron, is the work of Jesus. And I think that's so beautiful. And I would be remiss, Aaron, if I didn't point out that your part of your passion is to work with volunteers.
Absolutely. Going back 20 plus years ago, straight out of college, I had an opportunity to help do coaching and things to that nature and lead volunteers within a community center. And when I moved to Memphis 20 years ago, I had a great opportunity to be able to become the volunteer coordinator at another organization, and really just saw the passion that people wanted to give back. Mm-hmm. And it's just an awesome opportunity to watch people come together from different platforms. It's just not one group. It's a bunch of people coming together for a common good, and that's why we love volunteers so much. Is that they provide so much inspiration in this case.
This sounds very similar to how we operate with Miss Volunteer America. We're people from all different backgrounds, all
Right.
different goals and passions.
But coming together for a common good.
Yes.
Yes, and that's why we love volunteers so much.
I love that. Dennis, what about you? What makes you being involved with the Salvation Army and getting involved with volunteers? It has to warm your heart.
It's a huge blessing. Over the kettle season, we had the opportunity to see volunteers that are retired come in and help out.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered, when I heard the word volunteer, I pictured myself at church. But when I saw the people come in this year, I took a picture of them, and they're on my wall in my office, and I sort of call it Inspiration Corner, because those people have done well in life, and they come in and volunteer. Their heart's in the right place. They're passionate. They take all the time in the world, and the impact that they have because of their spirit and because of their attitude is incredible. So it gave me a totally new picture of the word volunteer.
Yeah, and Dennis, you are. I mean, you're. I love what you do because it is really the crux of what I mean. The money. I mean, if we don't have money, we're not able to do what we do. And this would be a great time for me to say every dime and dollar that we raise during the cattle season goes to keep the lights on at the Purdue Center of Hope. And it takes a lot of money to do that.
Oh, yes. It's incredible to see everything that goes on, and it's also incredible to have a value for the penny. And so I take a look at the Kroc Center, and I also take a look at the Purdue Center of Hope, to where I can share with people as far as how we handle our funds. What is a penny worth in a given month?
Wow.
So that they can they need something to relate with. And we also get to see the things from duplicate expenses or things that we could do better to synergize. And that's where I get to work with Aaron, and I get to work with everybody that's employed there to give us feedback on what's going on and make sure that we're doing the best stewards. So we have basically 3 goals. One's to be efficient, one's to be improved with our stewardship, and the last thing is just to reduce cost when we are able to.
And Amy, you work on the development side, on the fundraising side, and so you get to see the efforts of our you mentioned kettles, and then season long or year long fundraising, things to that nature. And where Dennis comes in is the steward side of that, making sure that we are being great stewards of the dollars invested into the Salvation Army, and he and his team, along with your team, make that all happen. So thank you to both of you for doing that.
Absolutely. And Aaron, Dennis was talking about the Kroc Center. If folks aren't familiar with the Kroc Center, I mean, we're so fortunate to have the Kroc Center because Joan Kroc, the widow of the founder of McDonald's, Ray Kroc, she had the opportunity to put Kroc Centers wherever she wanted, because that was her money that she donated. And she chose Memphis as one of, I believe, 26.
Correct.
And so, Aaron, tell us a little bit were you here when they did that?
I came on right after it was open, about a year after it was open.
Because I understood that that Joan Kroc's granddaughter actually flew to Memphis, and Ronald McDonald landed from a helicopter on the field when they broke ground and did that. So that's a huge deal for Memphis.
It's a big deal. It's one of 26. You mentioned one of 26, and there will only ever be 26.
Right.
And so it is an awesome opportunity to have this ministry. I think we all call it in the Salvation. It's a ministry.
Yeah.
It is a community center, but it's so much more than that.
Right.
It's faith. With the core, our church, it's recreation, it's arts. There's lots of wonderful opportunities, and you get a good workout there too.
Right. Yeah, because what you said, Aaron, is that, faith, every Sunday, the Kroc Center opens its doors to anyone. You don't have to be a member at the Kroc Center to go to church there.
Correct.
And so at the very heart of what we do, we are spreading the word of God. Mm-hmm. We are meeting needs in His name without discrimination. Because when we were founded many, many years ago, long before any of us were at the table, General William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, had a heart for helping people in need. And he believed in soup, soap, and salvation. If he could provide a bar of soap to someone to clean them up, a bowl of soup to fill their belly, he could ultimately lead them to Jesus. So at the very heart of what we do is a church. Is it all, or Aaron, or is it most of our officers and commanders are, they've been to seminary school?
Oh, all of them. Yes.
All of them.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So you have two sides. You have
Thank
the
you.
officer side who've gone to seminary and are
Thank you.
pastors, if you will. And then you have the civilian side like us,
Yes.
working in HR and finance and development and things like that.
That's right. So all of those officers, they are ordained ministers.
Correct.
So they preach, teach, and preach and teach. And I think this is so cool. Something that I think also people don't know about the Salvation Army is that when natural disasters happen, when school shootings happen, when anything like that, they are oftentimes the first on the scene.
That's true. Very true. It just when we suffered the horrendous flooding in
Yes.
eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina, my good friend Hannah McKay, who's our
That's
reigning
right.
Miss Tennessee volunteer, she was boots on the ground helping
Yes.
out there, as well as the Kentucky area, and then of course in the California wildfires, Miss California volunteer,
Yep.
she was out there too.
Yep. So I think that just speaks volumes to the work that we do. And Aaron, I think, the fact that we've been doing that for 125 years.
It's a continual evolution.
Yes.
Of our programs. What we were doing 125 years ago isn't what we're doing today.
Right.
We meet the needs of the community that we're in at the moment. And so if that takes 25 years, if that takes 30 years, if that takes 2 years, whatever it may be, we can evolve to and adjust to what is needed. Amy, I hear you tell a story quite often. When our Purdue Center of Hope was open 25 years ago, one of our programs was supposed to be a men's program.
Yes.
And then over the course of a weekend, we had the mayor come in and said, "This is great, this is wonderful, but we don't have a place for single women. Mm-hmm. How do we take care of that?" And we said, "Well, we can do that." And so we, over the course of the weekend, we had the construction come back in and fix things and cover up toilets and all that kind of stuff. And we became the first single women's shelter in Memphis 25 years ago.
I love that, Lydia.
And yes, it's some things we just take for granted. It's just a place to sleep, and many of these women have faced just insurmountable trials, and you're just able to show, hey, there is a place for you here. We are here to give you the hand up that you need.
Yeah. Well, and they have, I often say when I'm giving a tour of the Purdue Center of Hope, this is really, when women come here, it's like the last house on the block.
True.
I mean, it really is true. They're not on a winning streak. They have been many times victims of domestic violence. Many times they suffer with an addiction, and that can be any addiction. But they don't have to be suffering from an addiction. But they're struggling, and I mean, it's just they are met with open arms.
Yes, and that's what William Booth and his wife Catherine set out to do. People who didn't feel welcome, seen, or heard, that were just stuck in darkness. The Salvation Army has been that light for so many people.
Yeah, and I love that. And Major Cheryl sent me something over the weekend, which I think is so apropos. This is what because we just celebrated Women's History Month. And women played, that's why you mentioned Catherine Booth, women played such an integral role in the Salvation Army. And this is what General William Booth said about the equality of women. "I insist on the equality of women with men. Every officer and soldier should insist upon the truth that women are as important and as valuable, as capable, and as necessary to the progress and happiness of the world as a man."
So true.
Absolutely. In fact,
Wow.
the officers that first came to Memphis were women.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
Ruby Yeager.
Yeah, if not for them, would we be here?
Right. Absolutely.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yes, and we give a lot of respect to our men that have helped make the Salvation
right.
Army the organization that it is today. But just it's so true about women. Whenever we just see trouble in the world, we see injustice in the world, and just women and children that are in need, we just have that matronly, motherly need to go out and help that person get out of the situation that they are in.
Yeah. And, women too. I mean, women, the donut lassies. I mean, let's talk about that. That's very cool. The Salvation Army is behind Donut Day, Dennis.
Yes. It's not good for diabetics, though.
I'm cutting back on my donuts for the next couple of months. I gotta look good on that swimsuit for that stage.
Well, the first Friday in June, you gotta have it.
First Friday
in June. I'll make sure to keep that in the social media content calendar.
Right.
I gotta give respect to our donut lassies.
There you go. But you talk about instrumental people. These are volunteers.
Yeah.
That went to the front lines in World War I.
That's right.
In the trenches. These women they were literally on the front line getting shot at.
Yep.
And they were making donuts for the men coming off the front lines in the trenches, in the foxholes. They were taking their helmets. They had oil and batter, and they made donuts. And that is just amazing. I mean, you volunteered to put your life on the line to minister to men who needed it at the most at that moment.
The men were the fight, but the women were the morale.
There you go.
I love that, and it's really so cool because this name, Donut Lassies, actually arose from the constant making and delivering of freshly made donuts to the boys on the front line, and it came from the idea. The donuts, by the way, came from the idea of trying to lift the spirits of American soldiers, and I just think that's so cool because. They wanted to provide that hope, and they being the women.
Mm-hmm. And Lee, one of your other platforms is working with our servicemen and women,
with our service
right?
members, yes. So Lydia's Light, it started as me wanting to be a voice for children with learning disabilities, but it's expanded to that because of the Salvation Army partnership. We're also partners with St. Jude. I just feel called so much to be that voice for children of all backgrounds, but also, I said my platform is multi-generational. I love working with our service members. I've been partnered with Alpha Omega Veterans. We have a strong connection there, as well as Forever Young Veterans. And if I'm given the opportunity to be Miss Volunteer America come June, it would be my dream to travel across the nation and speak to multiple Shelby County. Well, that's another organization, the Shelby County Veterans Court here in Memphis, Tennessee, which was the first founded Veterans Court in the state of Tennessee, founded by retired Judge Bill Anderson. I just saw. And another group of young women who are veterans that have fallen on hard times because there is really no safety net for our veterans, and they give so much for our country, and we just give so little in return. So it's just people like us who feel called to do that. And being Miss Volunteer America, I would love to speak to multiple courts across the country to give a sense of morale. My parents instilled in me those values of being of service to others. They've helped hired out people who have been a part of that program, help them get back on track. It just shows the powers within you to be of service and be that inspiration for people.
And you got to ring our bells this year.
I did.
And last year, actually. I don't know why I'm forgetting last year. 2 years in a row, girl. And it was so cool because this year Lydia brought out the littles. Oh my gosh, Mary Marcia Riley's daughter.
My girl, Savvy Jo Riley. She is my mini-me. And Mary Marcia, she has been a fabulous mentor for me. And we've all been interwoven. You've known Mary Marcia for so many years. And you've had her on your program when you were in television. Yeah. And it's just, again, amazing women who just inspire you to want to be that example. And just, she's told me multiple times that I've been an inspiration for her daughter. Like, Savvy loves to sing, and just she says, Lydia, Mary Marcia says, Lydia, Savvy Jo, she wants to sing the song just like you. And it just, it's just a never-ending cycle. You are people like Mary Marcia who inspire me, and then I become so connected with her daughter. It's just a cycle that keeps on going, being that role model.
And speaking of that cycle, Dennis, your grandson you brought to one of our events that we had, and it's all about passing that baton, because the reality is we're not going to be here forever. Right. So we want those younger folks to get involved.
Oh yes, we want to create experiences where they have something to tell. And they are able to share it with their friends at school. They're able to share with their friends at church, their family, as far as the opportunity to participate and be able to describe it, to be able to communicate and articulate what we're doing and the people that we're touching. My youngest daughter was did foster care. And so when I see people here at their shelter, I have young children as little as probably 3 or 4 years old to teenagers come into my office and talk to me.
Oh,
Mothers come in and talk to me. And it's good to actually put in a different experience and a different face on what homelessness is and what people are that are challenged as far as trying to overcome things, and to be there just to give a smile and a word of encouragement.
It really makes a difference when when people recognize and see that you're the person that they can feel most comfortable with.
Yeah. And we have helped so many women and children through the Purdue Center of Hope. And you know, what is unheard of is that, they can stay there for up to 2 years, Aaron, for free.
And that was another thing is we talked about, the evolution of the Salvation Army. Back in 2017, we made a culture shift. We were an organization. There was nothing wrong with it, but we were an organization that was checking a box, and getting them out the door within 30 days, and get them in, get them out. It was all about quantity. Right. How many people are you servicing? And at that moment, our social services director and our area commander said, "How do we close the back door on poverty, on homelessness?" Because we were seeing 66% of our women coming back in the doors within 3 months of a HUD check running out. How do we change this? So we changed the layout. And we still have emergency shelter because that's very much needed. And there are other organizations that do a great job of that too. But where we focused on is the program side. Right. Up to a year, up to 2 years, depending on the addiction level and things to that nature. So we are really focused on making sure that we are breaking the chains of addiction and generational poverty.
I love it. And you can help us do that. And you could also help Lydia, right?
Right. I do have a fundraiser coming up for the Salvation Army Memphis coming up the first
That's
Saturday
right,
in May.
Scott!
Yes, Kendra Scott, because we're supporting women. So what goes together better than Kendra Scott and the Salvation Army?
Yeah.
You've been amazing in helping put that together.
I love it.
So about May 3rd, I will have a fundraiser with Kendra Scott in Germantown. And about 20-30% of the proceeds will go towards Salvation Army Memphis to help keep the mission going.
You're so awesome. Thank you.
I did do this about 2 years ago with St. Jude, and I raised over $1,400, and
Girl,
that paid for maybe 1 or 2 rounds of chemo for a child at St. Jude.
Wow.
So if we're able to match that or increase that, just please come on out to the Kendra Scott at Saddle Creek on May 3rd from 12 to 3 if you want to see me, and it'll continue all the way through the weekend. And let's just make this worth it for all the children and women at the Salvation Army.
You
Memphis.
ladies got really excited on that one.
We love jewelry,
because
can't you
who
tell?
doesn't love Kendra Scott? And, that's right around Mother's Day, too, by the way.
Yes, exactly. We'll have a lot of good foot traffic, and mothers, children, it's all perfectly interconnected.
Buy your mama something.
My girls will be there.
Yes, your girls will be there.
My girls will be there.
Because your wife is amazing, and she wants a Kendra Scott.
Let's do it.
I love it. Lydia, Aaron, Dennis, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are so grateful, and I would be remiss if I didn't say, again, it is thanks to a wonderful group of women, the Salvation Army's Women's Auxiliary of Greater Memphis, that we are able to bring you these stories each Tuesday here on Bott Radio, and we're so grateful to this great team at Bott Radio for allowing us to do this. So you can volunteer with us by going to our website at salvationarmymemphis.org. You can join the Women's Auxiliary. You can donate. We need your money. We have to have your money. We rely on your money in order to keep the lights on at the Purdue Center of Hope. You can also get involved in the Croc Center, and they're having a great summer camp program, crocmemphis.org. And don't forget, we have a thrift store. All of the proceeds that go to the thrift store go to house men who are working to rebuild their lives. They're located off of Kirby Witten Road. They'll come and pick up your donations, large or small. To schedule a pickup, you can go to arcsouth.org or call them at 1-800-SAL-ARMY. I'm Amy Speropoulos with the Salvation Army of Memphis in the Mid-South. Thanks for joining us for Stories Behind the Shield.